Friends, hello and welcome back. Hopefully everyone is having a lovely day. So NHL 24, it's about time we start hearing some rumblings about it. Late July, late August, mid-August, possibly a technical test, possibly a beta. We start hearing some rumblings there, but usually the number one thing we hear first before everything gets underway is who the cover athlete's going to be. And it's really an interesting year for the cover athlete. Now, this is my own personal opinion. Personally, maybe it's a little old school, maybe it's a little traditional, maybe it's, I don't know, probably not the way EA is thinking, maybe they are. But I always think you're really seeing a yearly game, just like roster updates. Like EA likes to think of how good a player was like 3 years ago, and that affects their overall from last year. When it should, I'm very kind of traditional in a way where I feel like since it's a year in, year out game, that year's best player should be reflected as that year's best players. That year's best team should be reflected as that year's best teams. It's not like, how did they do 3 years ago? What kind of name do they have? Kind of thing, whatever. That being said, I look at it and say, hey, a year in, year out game. So who should be gracing the cover? It should be a player on the best team in the league, or again, the most dominant team in the league that may not have won a Stanley Cup. So, you look at Vegas, or you look at Boston in a regular season. I think those are the two teams you say, all right, there's the two best teams. Now we find the best player on that team, the most popular player on that team, and we throw them on the cover. I felt like that, I don't know. I don't know if that happens. Obviously, it's not been the way because Toronto and, Edmonton and I don't remember the last time it happened. Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, maybe. Was that the last time we had a cover like that? I think it was. But I think that's a good baseline to go off of because, again, that's the most, you go year in, year out, the most deserving. So you look at it and say Vegas, let's talk Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel, he does have a lot of the qualities to be a cover athlete. He was a very high draft pick. He was a popular player. He's still a pretty well-known player around the league. I don't know what it is. Part of me doesn't think they'd do a Jack Eichel. I think Jack Eichel deserves it. I mean, he could be on it. That'd be great, You look at Boston, best player on Boston. David Pastrnak, been killing it, playing some stellar hockey. Now, the interesting thing with David Pastrnak, and this goes way above my head, understanding the marketing things in this regards. I mean, I kind of get it, I guess, but I don't know. But historically, besides Alex Ovechkin, EA really hasn't been like, let's put a European player on the cover. They just haven't done it. Alex Ovechkin took everybody by, just took over the league, though, and was a super popular player. Like, how could you not put Ovi on a cover? Pasternak's a really popular player as well. Pasternak's been the centerpiece to this dominant Boston Bruins team that's been running roughshod on the league now for years, and this season is just a ridiculously good season. If there's a guy that deserves to be on the cover, it's David Pastrnak. And I think he's a favorite to be on the cover, but that's the problem, though. It's just, if they haven't done European plays before, I don't think they do it now. There was the Kucherov year. Like, it was hands down, in my opinion. I'm a big Kucherov fan, a fanboy. It felt like Kucherov deserved to be on the cover. He should have been on the cover. There was no reason he should have been. Tampa was the most dominant team in the league. It was winning back to back, whatever. I know it was only like two. It was winning cup after cup, and Kucherov was driving that ship. And I felt like, the best player, a really popular, well-known player, best player on the best team that has been in the era, really, should have been on the cover. It didn't happen. I bring it up. It kind of reminds me, like, is that the thing? Is EA not want to throw? He was Russian, of course, not the same nationality. But are they worried about not throwing? They don't want to throw a European guy on the cover because of marketing reasons. Is it a better strategy for them to throw a Canadian player or a U.S. player in for the American edition, and then do what they've done in the past, where they throw like a Patrick Laine or whatever on the Canadian or European version? I don't know the sales logic behind that, and I really don't, because like Pastrnak is like, there's a lot of Boston fans. Boston, Boston, their market dang near as big as some of these countries. But they're gonna get a lot of people that want to buy that game, buy the cover for Pastrnak because there's Bruins fans. Like, I gotta have it, Pasternak's on the cover. It's the same. I think that's kind of why they do the European thing. It's right. It's like, oh, he's kind of the local boy, gotta have it because he's on it. So it's like, let's tailor to that crowd, and I understand that. But I think there's room for the same story for the American version. But I don't think they've proven they want to do that. We'll see. I think Pastrnak deserves it. So we go down the list. You go after that and you say, all right, super popular, sick on the sticks. Maybe actually, now that you say it that way, I don't know if you video games or not. But he's sick on the ice. Nathan MacKinnon. There's Matthews. There's more McDavid. Draisaitl, I mean, McKinnon's top 3 in the league in points in the last 3 seasons. He's been, again, the driver of that ship in Colorado, a team that has won it. And interestingly enough, felt like that, again, same story, could have been McKinnon last season. That was kind of the prime time for, but he's still young. It can still happen. This could be the Nasty Nate season. And I do feel really good about Nathan MacKinnon. I think you say Nathan MacKinnon's the favorite. It'd be interesting if they went maybe with like a Carolina Hurricane, maybe a Ranger. I'm just trying to think of teams that might have brought a little different pizzazz to the table this year, if you will, that brought a little interest. But I think Nathan MacKinnon's your front runner, personally. And I think, again, he very much deserves to be the front runner. We'll see. Personal thoughts. I'd love to hear your guys'. Who do you want to be on the cover? This is an interesting thing as well. Do you enjoy like the Trevor Zegrasses, the Sarah Nurses of the world on the cover? Because I've really been thinking about this, a little overthinking of the cover. It's kind of a good strategy. If you put a player or players in a small market or a less popular league, you throw them on the cover, it, raises awareness to those players, those teams. It's like, who's this guy? Let me look him up. Or who's this girl? Let me look her up. And then you look up the highlights like, oh, she's a talented freaking player. And, you start following that player, that team, whatever. So I can understand it from that standpoint. It's like, if you want to use the cover as a way to like bring up other smaller markets or the other leagues or whatever, it's like, that's a brilliant idea. And if that's the case, it's like anybody's guess who's going to be on the cover. We'll see, though. Love you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.